Now, my personal opinion, I think we need. I love it. I'm not gonna. So when people think about the global identity of what coolness is, they not looking to the identity of the most well tapered, well polished black man.
That's not who we are. That's how they portray us. And the reason they portray us that way is because the people who are actually pulling the strings and owning the means of media dissemination are palm colored with small hats. So trying to lay that on niggatry is a little premature and a little short sighted in the grand tapestry of things because we have been copied, co opted, homogenized, shaken, pressed down, and remixed all over the place.
I think it was hijacked and weaponized against us.
Thank you.
Right? That's this wasn't really even our doing. We don't really control who's elevated. If y'all understand how that goes.
He's too brilliant. He's too well read. He is too smart and he is too old. He knows better. What you're not understanding is a lot of times you see a black face on a white agenda.
Is political loyalty really the problem, or is it our lack of unity as men?
I think it's both. I think it's definitely both. That's a very loaded question, but I believe it's both. I'm not sure what you guys were touching on earlier. I kind of was piecing it together. Forgive me. They were doing some kind of maintenance, so there was a brief outage. I believe current day, what I see is that our community does not understand the power of being insulated. And I believe that we're still very much scattered. So the political play, the business play, the educational play, all necessary. I don't think it's going to take all of us. I think it's going to take a small group of us. But this idea that we're not supposed to take care of ourselves, I think is what is the biggest divide. I think that we still are operating in this country like we're not in competition amongst other groups as well as in-house. So it causes a desensitized type of situation. And, by means, it makes sense. At one time, I wasn't alive, but I read my books. People were getting hung by trees. We're not experiencing that anymore. So I think that what they did strategically is that they gave us the worst of punishment where it was visual. And now what it is it's institutionalized, it's policy. And because a lot of people don't educate themselves on these things and how important it is how to play this game at this level, that's what's keeping us very handcuffed.
I mean, everybody touched on the main point. We're operating as a captured electorate. So that's really what it boils down to. There's no fear of losing us. So I think we are in unison. We've been in unison just in the wrong direction for nothing, like as Dave and everybody else was hinting on. It's guaranteed that you're gonna get the majority of the black vote based off of historical ideology and leanings. I think one of the things that's shifting the entire schematic ideologically for us is the advent of like new black media and different transitional sources in which we get our information from. So we're not captured to just MSNBC or Fox News. We have a wide range of different places that we pull information from so we can compare and contrast. And propaganda doesn't work the same way it worked previously, because now we're actually like looking into the full clip. So you can't run a narrative based on 10 seconds of a clip. And when you see a clip, say something that the news represented it to not say or do, the distrust that comes from that is hard to come back from. So the older media, maybe 50 plus crowd, they're going to continue to operate because they're not online the same way we are, and not interacting with people who have different ideologies and actually going through thought experiments with people like a lot of us do with these panels and what social media kind of acts as. And everything under that it's up for scrutiny, and the no tangibles, no vote. We're not a captive electorate. I think that's the unity that we actually need, where it's like just stay on code. It's no party, no affiliation. We independent, and we just what's best for us is the only thing that matters.
What would you say is what would the black community do without niggas? Like, what I mean by that is all of what you said, I agree with. I think it is shifting, but I typically still see that there's this identity that we carry that seems to be heavily leaned on like the nigga representation and charismatic representation, right? So amongst what Claude Anderson said, image of what we want to establish as what is us now, I don't know where we land there. So collective minds, you guys are all brilliant. I would love to know what will we do without niggas?
In my personal opinion, I think we need niggas. I love niggas. I'm not gonna. So when people think about the global identity of what coolness is,
What?
they not looking to the identity of the most well tapered, well polished black men. When they think about hip hop and the things that like represent us throughout the sphere, now do niggas take the shit too far? Yes, absolutely. Do they do some shit that we need to remove from out of the schematic of how maybe how we interact with each other violently, or how, yeah, remove those things and just look at the general ideology of what the general consensus for what is cool. It's a specific archetype of our people. And you remove that, then we a subgenre of other cultures. We're not even a subgenre of other cultures. I think we lose something by the removal of that. We lose hip hop, we lose swag, we lose all the things that you can export globally as far as our culture goes, in my personal opinion. I see you got the face, so let me hear what you got to say.
I think our culture is a lot deeper and a lot richer than niggas. I think, as a person whose family started in the projects, um, I wasn't out here, shooting and gang banging. You know what I'm saying? I had a record deal. Like, I've made plenty of moves within the hip hop community for 4 decades, and I never had to, do any of that. That's not who we are. That's how they portray us. And the reason they portray us that way is because the people who are actually pulling the strings and owning the means of media dissemination are palm colored with small hats. So trying to lay that on niggatry is a little premature and a little short-sighted in the grand tapestry of things, because we have been copied, co-opted, homogenized, shaken, pressed down, and remixed all over the place, from K-pop to what they're now doing with country, which is why they have a different category for country because of the advent of Beyonce and everything that she's brought with it. I do think that when True asked that question, and I can't speak for True, I've never met the man in my life, but I do have two connected brain cells that tells me what he means is, what do we do and what could we accomplish if we got rid of actual detriments to our greatness? See, the difference between black people and everybody else in this country is that black people are the only people, by and large, who embrace their trash. White people put their trash in trailer parks. Indians put their trash in slums. Native Americans put their trash on the other side of the reservation. We put our trash upstairs and slide Uncle Rufus's plate under the door and say that's just how he is, but don't leave your daughter around him. We got to be a lot more diligent with how we operate, how we move, and the way we shame things. You look at the Italians, when they dropped Jersey Shore, Italians was like, nah, we ain't endorsing that. Y'all can have it, but that's not a reflection of who we are. We think every single thing is a reflection of who we are because we are being fed the worst versions of ourselves.
Thank you, Dave, for cleaning that up. Like you did in
Yeah. I don't like how y'all cleaned it up, because I clearly said remove some of the schematic that's dangerous, meaning like things like abuse, violence, anything that falls into that sphere of this is detrimental and harmful specifically to another individual, as opposed to. So, all right, do you consider Jay-Z like niggas when you saying niggas? Do you consider like can you give me because maybe who I'm thinking of
about the 80s, 90s version of niggas.
At least you see the problem sometimes with being so young.
Very diverse group versus what it looks like today. Not saying that back then there wasn't violence that occurred or what have you, but I think you had, like when you're talking about hip hop, it was such a broad variety that it wasn't only focused on just the shoot 'em up and effing everybody. You had conscious rap, you had all of those other things that promoted the other side of blackness, which you don't pretty much have today, that's really pushed.
But I
I
think
think
that's
it was hijacked. I think it was hijacked and weaponized against us.
Thank you.
Right? That's this wasn't really even our doing. We don't really control who's elevated. If y'all understand how that goes, I know anybody who's hit the music industry can kind of tell you like who how that happens.
but we also don't stand against it as a collective group, in my opinion. I think that the reason why I posed that question is because I was curious, but at the same time, Marcus utilized the media machine. And the media machine, as several people on this panel have said, we're not in control of. However, we are monetizing the caricatures of our community. And I'm trying to figure out if that disappears, and even to I believe Marcus's point, well, let's just don't take it all the way away. Let's just, refine it a little bit. No, I'm trying to figure out, why don't we remove it completely? Why don't we explore that? Like, what does that look like as a community? Because to me, in my mind, when I think about Black people, when I think about myself and the people I share this panel with, I don't typically think about the degeneracy. We don't carry ourselves in such a manner, to the point, JR being, the host, and the times we've had people on this panel that have been niggas, it disrupts what we're trying to accomplish. And so I think that's the part where I have pause with that, where we're trying to still keep a little bit of it. Well, it's not that bad. As long as they're not shooting, as long as they're not doing it, why don't we just disengage?
Do
Completely
you,
erase.
can you define a ninja then? If that's the case?
That's why, like, I got even better experiment trigger. So, True and Dave, I'm gonna throw a name out here. You tell me, do they stay or go? Okay. All right. So first one was Jay-Z, stay or go?
Go.
Okay. Nas,
Stay.
T.I.,
Go.
Killer Mike.
Go.
Ooh, I would say stay, but
Okay. Malcolm X,
Stay.
stay.
Detroit Red.
Go.
I don't know who that is.
Malcolm X is Detroit Red.
Yeah,
Okay.
prior to, because these men have to, the evolution of them comes, because I think like the reason you pause like that about for True, I believe for Killer Mike, is because the evolution of what he became is something that we relate to and look at as a sign of progress. Kind of similar to like Detroit Red. There's no Detroit Red, there's no Malcolm X. We get Malcolm X through Detroit Red. We get Killer Mike through his journey into where he's at. I think T.I. right now is decent too. We get T.I. through TIP versus T.I. And then you see the evolution of that man. Some of the things that that we champion as far as the man that you are today and the way you operate within society, it comes through a maturation of trials and tribulations, and you get to see the journey and the struggle from point A to point B to becoming as successful as we possibly can be, or as successful as we currently are. And I'm not saying to take away from the things that occur and that are promoted through the negativity that exists within hip hop. Though that's without question things that can be removed or figured another way around. But I think to throw the entire baby out with the bathwater creates a different problem for us.
Well, when you pose a binary question where it's this or that, what else can we do? So you're asking me to operate out of parameters that you created. So when you do that, you're automatically setting somebody up for failing. It's a trick bag. But let me be clear. When it comes to someone like Killer Mike, I think Mike Render's a brilliant man. I think he's more brilliant than he lets on. I also think that some of the moves that he makes are a lot more calculated, but because most Black folks are not that discerning, they don't bother to question them. For example, I love that he got all those Grammys. I love that he had that show on Netflix. What was it called? Oh, Trigger Warning, where he made the very brilliant and true point that the Hell's Angels have merchandising deals. And then he turned around and he had the conversations he needed to have with whomever he needed to have them with to have the rights to create products for the Bloods and the Crips. And instead of creating merchandise or any type of leveraging that IP, they go into a regular kitchen, not a commercial kitchen, and create Blood Pop and Cripa-Cola. And when it's time to teach trade skills, he uses porn in order to do that. He decided to get everybody hyped up on a black bank that's run all by white people. To me, that's a hustle. That's why I said he's got to go. Love his music. I love his music more than I love his business acumen. But that's just me. I know different things about different people. So when I'm saying stay or go, it's coming from a place of having different experiences than the average bear with those individuals and what they actually do behind the scenes to impact us.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I wasn't aware of the intricacies you had about Killer Mike.
And that's the thing. We got to make sure, like, and this is again, I'm shutting up after this. We got to make sure that when we're throwing these things out, we actually know intimately, good, bad, or indifferent, about the people we prop up. Because that's why we run into trouble. It's why the NAACP had egg on their face when they were propped up a woman named Rachel Dolezal. And I yield.
Yeah. So the point that I was gonna make about that was, God damn, I just lost my point. I think it was the reason I use. Oh, do you think that it's possible that his reason for making Cripple Cola or advertising using softcore corn was he believed the demographic that he was marketing to would not respond to anything outside of that?
He's too brilliant. No, he's too brilliant. He's too well read. He is too smart, and he is too old. He knows better. What you're not understanding is a lot of times you see a black face on a white agenda. It was a Netflix show. Reality television has never been real. They have people called story editors. That's code for writer. Somebody came up with that and they pitched those things. All of that stuff, with very few exceptions, was staged. And so what it did was give a global platform to what people believe is willful ignorance and buffoonery, all in the name of, well, black people don't want to learn. You grew up in Atlanta your entire life and you don't know any black hotels, Mike? Stop. You got to start looking beneath what's actually happening. The same way y'all know who Mona Scott is, but don't have a clue as to who Jim Ackerman is.